Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to my Premier League Matchweek 26 predictions where, ladies and gentlemen, I say it every single week, but this Premier League Matchweek, it is a big one. I mean, you've got Liverpool versus Manchester United, Man City versus Newcastle.
Shut up and take my money!
You couldn't ask for anything more. But of course, one thing you could ask for is, well, I guess to jump straight into the video. Let's do it. Now, looking at our first game of the match week, it is Man City versus Newcastle. Now, last time they played against each other, it was a 3-3 draw in arguably one of the best games of the season. But this time around, unfortunately for the Magpies, I don't think it'll be as close. I'm going to give it a 2-0 win in Man City's favour. Because although, yes, they have been good this season, their attack was way too, well, toothless versus Man United in the Carabao Cup final. Which, of course, speaking of, I would like to thank Laureus because he did carry us to our first trophy in 6 years.
Ooh, you're hard.
Joking aside, I actually think Loris Karius had a really good game and I'm happy he could redeem himself. But of course, Nick Pope will be back in contention versus Man City. But as I said, looking at how toothless their attack was, I do think Man City will take it. Jumping into our next game, we have Arsenal versus Bournemouth. Now, of course, talking about both Man City and Arsenal already in this video. Before we go any further? Before we get any further, I do want to ask you guys to please put down in the comment section down below, who do you think will win the Premier League this season? Of course, we're already in match week 26, incredible how fast the season's gone by, but I want to ask you guys to put down below, who do you think will win the title? Will it be Arsenal? Will it be Man City? Will there be a surprise and will it be Man United?
You don't want to see me angry, do you?
Do it!
Of course, one can only dream, but of course, I want you guys to tell me down below. But looking at Arsenal versus Bournemouth, obviously Bournemouth just got an absolute smack from Man City in the Premier League. And this time around, once again, versus a very informed Arsenal team, I do think Arsenal will take it, and I think they'll take a very convincing 3-0 win. Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace is next. Now, it's weird to look at an Aston Villa team and to know that they have what's voted to be the best goalkeeper in the entire world. I wonder if he also won the award for best own goal in the entire world.
I think he needs to keep his mouth shut.
But once again, jokes aside, looking at this Aston Villa team, although this game could be so incredibly close, I mean, although yes, Crystal Palace have picked up a lot of draws, they've picked up a lot of draws versus some very, very top opposition, which is kind of scary to look at. But looking at Aston Villa, as I said, defensively, they have potential to be very solid. On the attacking front, Ollie Watkins is in the form of his life, scoring in the last 5 Premier League games. And I do think that form could continue, as I do think Aston Villa will get a 1-0 win. Brighton versus West Ham United is next. Now, they say football is a very weird sport and absolutely anything can happen. But can we talk about the fact that West Ham United have one of the worst attacks in the Premier League this season, yet they've just put 4 goals past Keylor Navas?
That's impossible!
Once again, football can be so weird, but can they do it again versus Brighton? Well, I was kind of shocked to see that in the last 10 meetings between these two teams, West Ham United have not won a single fixture, which once again, kind of weird to see, and considering Brighton have had a far better season, I'm considering continuing that trend. But you know what, looking at how good Danny Ings was in that previous game, I think he could be a serious difference maker here, and I think West Ham United will finally get a win over the Seagulls. That takes us to Chelsea versus Leeds United. Now, they say you have to make mistakes in order to learn. Well, Chelsea have done a lot of learning this season. And of course, looking at them versus Tottenham Hotspurs, they were dreadful in that previous game. And versus a Leeds United team who, although are only 17th place on the Premier League table, Chelsea might have a problem here. Look, at the end of the day, I feel like Chelsea have to eventually win points.
You know what? Let's just agree to disagree, my friend.
Although I don't know whether they'll be soon or not. And I feel like if there's any game for them to finally capitalize on points, it could be a game like this. But I'm going to put a draw down, purely because the fact that Thiago Silva has picked up an injury. And versus a very attacking forward Leeds United team, I do feel like Chelsea could be in a bit of trouble. Next up, we have Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, to be honest, I do think Tottenham Hotspurs will win this one because although it can normally be a very close contest, and although no Wolves haven't been in bad form as of late, obviously Tottenham Hotspurs kind of have that top 4 motivation at the moment. And as we get to the back end of the season, this is where it really matters. And although, yes, maybe Tottenham Hotspurs are kind of known to bottle it, I do think this time around that extra little bit of motivation will carry them through. Southampton versus Leicester City is next. Now, although yes, this is the fixture that brought us that glorious 9-0 win for Leicester City, I don't think it'll be that high scoring this time around. I do still think that the winners of that great fixture will be the same, as I do think Leicester City are slightly better. Once again, there are just so many more stars in this team, and although yes, maybe Southampton have picked up the odd points here or there, I just feel like looking at this Leicester City team, they have more of that cutting edge. They have more players who could win matches, where if you look at Southampton, let's be honest, unless it's an 87th minute free kick that James Ward-Prowse can take it, there's no real winners there. That takes us to our third last game of the video with Nottingham Forest versus Everton. Now, of course, Chris Wood and Tarkovsky finally get back together again. It sounds like Sean Dyche's wet dream, which, I mean, listening to the sound of that man's voice, I'm not sure anything about him is wet.
Get in there!
Looking at Nottingham Forest, they've picked up some really important points this season, and looking at Everton, once again, although I kind of like them under Sean Dyche, although I feel like they have the ability to surprise absolutely anyone, I am a tiny bit worried for them. They don't seem to be scoring a lot of goals, which once again, versus a goalkeeper like Keylor Navas, could be a major problem. Once again, anything could happen, and that's kind of why I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Now that takes us to our second final game of the match week, which Liverpool versus Man United. I've been waiting for this for so long now. Manchester United are finally good, and it's been a long time coming, and especially during a time where Liverpool, who, let's be honest, aren't so good at the moment, this is the time for Manchester United to truly shine. But of course, before we jump into that, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, if you are not subscribed, please do subscribe down below. I would really appreciate it. Obviously, once again, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and the only way to do it is if you guys subscribe.
No way!
Once again, it is free, and if you ever want to unsubscribe in the future, that's also free. But of course, look at Liverpool versus Man United. Obviously, look at Liverpool. They are in so much trouble right now. And look at Manchester United. They've just won their first trophy in 6 years.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Which once again, if you just look at stats like that, I do think Liverpool always have potential to score here. It's always such a highly anticipated game. But once again, I think Manchester United at this current moment in time, they have the cutting edge. I'm so excited to say that. And that takes us to our final game of the match week, Brentford versus Fulham. Now, of course, forget the Messi-Ronaldo debate, the Haaland-Kylian Mbappe debate. Who cares about those? This is Ivan Toney versus Mitrovic, the battle of the century.
Are you sure about that?
But once again, jokes aside, it was such an entertaining game last time they played against each other. And looking at the form Brentford have been in, I mean, losing is not in their vocabulary at the moment. They've been unbeaten since when? The 23rd of October? Mental to think about, but Fulham have also had a really brilliant season. Once again, a fixture that could go either way, and once again, tiny bit of a cop-out, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Once again, if there is going to be a winner here, it will be between Toney and Mitrovic. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's video. As I said, if you have enjoyed it, leave me a little subscribe down below, or a big subscribe. It's up to you, I guess. I'm not going to tell you what kind of subscribe to leave. And of course, don't forget to like it down below, because hey, once again, if you like the video, it makes sense. But of course, guys, don't forget to also leave your predictions down below. I hope that you enjoy this match week. I hope that whoever you support out there ends up winning their match week. Unless you're Liverpool, because I don't want United to lose. But of course, once again, that's enough rambling on for me. Guys, until next time, Finn, FY, double N, cheers.